Is Group 3 going to get better?
Looks like a no.
Oh, damn.
You heard it here first. Hey everyone, it's Mera Mangle.
And Chasity Valentino.
And welcome to another Mangled morning. Woo! Because I have these glasses on, I'm like moving so slow. As if they also affect my motion.
Your ability to, function.
Well, they do, yeah. How are you doing, Chasity?
Well,
you look stunning.
Thank you. Me and the girls came out to play.
Right, because last time you were here, you were still pretty bandaged.
I was bandaged down and recovering. I'm a little over a month out. Unless I'm filming or doing a show, I still wear my surgical bra, my band, all that. But it's nice to let them come out and breathe a little.
We're happy to see them. And it's about the only good thing that we're going to talk about today. There's a smell in the room, and the smell is of rigamoris.
Rigatoni!
All Stars 10. The purple group started. And for most people, I feel like it's already ended. We're not even trying to play fair.
We're not going
to pretend it's a competition
anymore. We're not
anymore.
even going to pretend.
I mean, I feel like it literally was like a jump the shark moment. We'll discuss why we think that, what the fandom reaction has been.
Yeah.
France All-Stars promos also dropped. But we're going to cover those in another video because I want to dedicate time to those because those are amazing. Tomorrow we'll have a lovely day of celebrating beautiful drag.
Beautiful, stunning, gorgeous drag.
Now, also, you're in drag. For some reason, I just assumed I told you I don't want to do drag today.
Yeah, no.
And she showed up in full geesh, and I said, oh, well. And I even said, I know what I said to you. And I went back to look at the messages.
Pulled up the message, wasn't there.
Those were just thoughts in my brain.
But it's okay. You know what? She's got to work later, so it worked out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
This beat will make some coin.
Yeah, this beat will make some coin. And
it was your birthday, too.
Yeah, my birthday just passed. Yes, this was one of my birthday dresses. Because I had a whole full celebration.
I got to take these off. Just because it's going to continue to throw me off.
Yeah, I had fully indulged for my birthday.
In what?
Patron.
Did you get a little nasty and messy? You filthy slut?
Yeah, I had got mangled.
Did you?
The theme for my birthday, I was trying something new. The theme was douched and dangerous. However,
well, that does. I know what that means. Great.
But none of that happened.
Oh.
And I even had a hotel room for my birthday weekend. Nobody came through the room.
The goal, the manifest didn't.
Yeah, it didn't manifest, but I was ready. And usually that's not my cup of tea.
You don't stay ready?
No, usually I do the bending.
Right.
But
it's your birthday weekend. You felt like experimenting.
I felt like experimenting. You know what? I'm opening new horizons because I'm like, you know what?
Your hole.
Yeah.
New holes, new
goals. But also, I was like, you know what? Maybe my person out there, I keep missing them because they're a top.
That's it. That's got to be it.
So I'm trying to become more versatile.
Sometimes I think stuff like that too. At the end of the day, it's just our bad attitudes.
Yeah. It's my high standards, but you know what? My standards are not too high. It's okay to have high standards. It's just I haven't came across anybody recently that equivalates to the standard that I have for myself. Like, you have to come correct or don't come at all.
Oh, and that multiple ways.
Yeah, in multiple ways. Because I'll be happy by myself at home with a goldfish sitting in the corner in a coloring book.
I mean, I am. I mean, I'm not happy. But I don't want anyone in the house.
I'll lay in the bed and rub my feet together and watch a good TV show.
A lot of people watch us for comfort.
Yes.
Like Marissa V, which she tipped on Venmo.
Ooh.
You can tip us on Venmo, Cash App, and then YouTube things, which we'll go over some of those at the end of the video. And of course, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like the video. But Marissa V said that she loves seeing me branch out on my own and doing some solo content. It kind of sounds like I'm doing like a solo porn too.
Okay.
Do a little solo video.
Follow Mera's OF.
Marissa said she loves seeing our local STL queens, but I slayed the solos. So she said, I love the girls, but...
She lives for the dolls, but...
I was happy with the response. What was funny is the first person to comment, message, or reach out to me, they said that my solo video made them sad.
Oh.
And I was like, well, damn, the reviews are in.
The reviews are in.
But then everything after that's been lovely. This meme pretty much sums up the episode. They changed her trade shirt to cringe. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that. Why is that so funny? But also...
It's so accurate.
It's so accurate. But she's definitely not like trade. Because, we got a lot of reviews about people trying to correct us when we did our trade video.
What were they trying to correct us about?
They were like, well, that's not the traditional trade. And I'm like, did you watch
We gave a disclaimer at the beginning about that.
At the very beginning, we said, we know this is not trade. No,
I think we said it twice.
No sissy in wigs is trade. That's not trade. Okay?
I gotta unzip this now. You just moved my Adam's apple.
Did I? Oh my God.
The man came out.
She felt like she was the trade of her season.
She felt like.
I don't think she was there long enough to be the trade of the season. She might have been the trade of the episode.
When you look at what some of the stuff she did in this particular episode, she really tried to make what little time she did have on screen make us remember it. Like, reference all of it. When she was in her entrance look and they first get into the workroom. And her skirt said
Hunter. And she was like, does your skirt say nut?
Does it say nut? And just the way Daya said it was so funny.
Oh, I love me some Daya.
She was honestly, like, throughout the episode, was my favorite person. And it did make me chuckle a couple times. Because there wasn't a lot of chuckling for me.
No.
Alyssa references her moment at the reunion, which that in itself was just so... It felt so unnatural, and it was an inauthentic moment. Yeah. And here she is bringing it up, and look at Daya's face. Like, you can see that Daya is just, like, not effing with this girl.
Okay, she's like... She came up like, how's this gonna be? How we gonna be? Are we gonna be girlfriends, or are we gonna...
But Alyssa was trying to set up a storyline with... All the girls were trying to... I don't think Daya was. We didn't hear one, but all the girls were coming in with these, like, story arcs as if half the season has already occurred. Like, how they're thinking about what's happening. But Alyssa was trying to get a redemption, and we're really trying to set that narrative up for them to be partnered together. And I don't think she was either one of Daya's choices.
No. Alyssa or Cynthia were nobody's choices except for each other's.
I think one of Acid's choices was Cynthia.
It wasn't. She was like, you're my sister, but I don't see you as a friend of me.
Well, but right before that, moments before that, she said, I feel like it's you and I versus everyone else.
Okay. Girl,
what happened to that? Because... Right. We could use the button.
We need that button.
I have some questions to ask. Acid is immediately like, I feel like I'm the outsider. I'm different. I'm a lot older. Meanwhile, Ginger, like, it's actually a really old group. Ginger's old.
Okay. Cynthia's old.
Right.
You're old.
I don't know. It's just like a stretch to say how deeply she was feeling she didn't fit in, and her telling Cynthia it's them versus everyone else. Yeah. We're the outsiders. But then, moments later.
They're seasoned sisters.
Right. Like, but like the whole frenemies theme for the witches, no one was a frenemy pairings for real. So she could have gone with her friend. Yeah. It was just
because you two are completely opposite personalities, so like
it would have made a lot of sense.
It would have made a whole lot of sense.
Ginger also came in with confessional, giving a lot of narrative, a lot.
First of all, if they would have gave me one more of her confessional, I was ready to turn the episode off.
I'm glad it's not just me.
I was like, okay, so we're just starting.
It was so much, and it was not like
we're just starting the BS.
It just was like her trying to be funny. It was just not working.
I was just at all.
The episode was more confessional than anything else.
But
just of certain people.
Do you want to know one of my favorite parts of the confessional? Don't ask me why I always notice these little details. Was Ginger is sitting there and she's talking about something like kind of a giggly moment, and she has tissue in her hand. But in the moment where she's actually crying in the confessional, she has no tissue in her hand.
The whole editing of her whole crying segment was...
I was like...
really Frankenstein. Denali was barely featured in this episode. However, her ass
did get
got more screen time than her face. And it was gorgeous.
I appreciated it.
Yeah,
I definitely appreciated it.
It was one of the
Denali
highlights.
has kind of... I don't know if it, like, because maybe she was so much younger whenever she did her season. Like, it wasn't that long ago, but there's just this more mature look about her in and out of drag that I really live for.
She reminded me a lot of Joey J from her season because she referenced being homosexual a bunch of times.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I'm so homosexual.
But let's talk about picking out the groups. The first person I think that says anything is Cuckoo, saying that she was compared with her best friend.
Yeah.
Acid was like, we're not frenemies. Yeah, but... one could be a good witch and one could be a bad witch. Like, there's a clear good and bad.
And I did enjoy the fact that Ru was like, we are not looking for, replica representation.
An exact, wicked moment. They could have been more creative with the witches overall, with their themes.
I got things to say.
Wild. Acid, who just said that she was the outsider, Daya asked to be paired with her, and Denali. She picks Denali because I think it was just because Denali's so gorgeous. Like, the way she was looking at her.
She probably wanted to hunch on her. I got it, though. I got why they picked each other.
There is a clear good and bad in that group as well. This moment with the Wicked girls coming in was so weird. From beginning to end, it was weird. First, they come in, it's like, they come in so quiet that, like...
They're just quietly tipping in. And if you notice, Ginger's the only one who turns around and she's like, oh, hi. And then all of a sudden, it's like fangirl moments.
Right.
It was so
She didn't know
awkward.
who they were first.
Yeah, it was so awkward. And then...
Denali did, though. This is when Denali does whatever. She did a couple speeches about, like, this is homosexuality.
Okay. I'm so homosexual.
But, we saw on their press tour, I'm sure, you've seen all of that stuff of Cynthia and Ariana. But I love that, like, you would think that Cynthia is in the middle of having an emotional breakdown the way Ariana is looking at her and holding her.
They coddle each other and, like... They are each other's emotional support.
They feel codependent.
Yeah. The bond that those two have is so beautiful. And it's natural. Like, I don't feel like
you
it's
say
forced.
Beautiful, I think unhealthy. I think they're it's too much.
It's unhealthy. Okay,
like, I'd be afraid they would crumble if they weren't together.
Yeah, but I love watching the two of them together. And I love... listening to Cynthia speak, such conviction and passion about anything she's talking about. Like, I'd listen to her talk about how she makes her breakfast.
Right. They make everything emotional.
Yeah. And then there's Ariana, who's like this, just like in the movie, like, you're the supporting role, you're the supporting friend. Like, you're just there to...
She was kind of doing the RuPaul part in the workroom, though. She was kind of interviewing them.
Yeah.
She's like, do you guys have questions for us?
Yeah.
Even that was edited funny, where it was like, damn, what happened? Like, the way she said it was like, they all just stood there or something.
I mean, were they like in shell shock or like... Because I would have been freaking out, like completely freaking out. I fell in love with Cynthia Erivo whenever she played Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Like, that was my initial, like, attachment to her. And I was like, oh, I just want to know more, and started following her.
But Ginger, so the way all this occurred, was really weird, because it feels like they spliced stuff in at times where it didn't happen. Because this happened so late into the... It's like right before they leave.
Yeah.
They've been in the room for a while.
It's spliced weird, but I think she was trying to depict, like, their execution of something that has played a pivotal part in her life.
Right. But she hadn't seen it yet. That movie came out in November. They filmed this last summer. That's why they didn't do their version. That's why they had to do the Broadway version. I mean, we all knew they were filming it.
Yeah.
But also, like, the way they did that close-up zoom across their faces, Cynthia almost looks, like, disturbed.
Like, is she cool? And
like,
then,
they look just like, their faces that they made throughout the whole episode, both of them. It was so interesting to me. Like, what are they thinking? Like, what is happening? Like, they look, again, like, they're going to have a breakdown. This is going to make them have a breakdown. Like, everything is crashing. It's so funny.
It was hilarious. But the next portion... I lived for.
Going through the mirror?
Yeah. We haven't seen it since, like, what? All Stars...
I think the last time was, like, when Alicia Keys popped up in that mirror.
Oh, my God. Has it been that long? I don't even remember that. I remember when Alyssa Edwards popped up in the mirror.
This was on a regular
and then
season. This was, like, for one of those split premieres or something, because she did the second premiere.
Getting to see this, like... I stopped, like, watching so much and started thinking, like, damn, imagine sitting there doing your makeup and realizing there's a camera directly behind this mirror at all times while you're just sitting here. This is where the view is. There's a whole crew.
There's a ton of people right in your face, right there, yeah.
But you can't see them unless they turn the light on.
Mm-hmm. The next moment I have is to talk about some of the feedback the girls got. And this is when things start to get super suspicious for me.
I have a controversial yet brave opinion that I'm going to give.
Say it.
I think the time has come. I think we're there. And I think it's time to remove Michelle from the panel.
I wasn't really happy. Besides, actually, Ariana was the only person I heard making full sense about who she wanted to win. Mm-hmm. Like, she was really rooting for Denali and Acid.
I think La Roche had some good feedback and opinions about everybody, but at the end, still sided with Ru. Like, it was like, I loved this. Oh, but Ru, this is where you're going? Okay, I'm going to go with you.
I would say that some of the negatives the other groups got, for instance, Acid with the look and safety pinned on, like, I understood his feedback for that. The problem is the fine detail critique on those girls And then Ginger and Daya have lots of problems with their looks, with their story.
Looks look cheap. They were terrible. They did not. I don't care.
So Law,
y'all can read me. They were terrible.
Right. So Law tells Ginger it was the best one of the night. And then Michelle tells Daya it's the most fashion look of the night. It was the cheapest looking.
It was the absolute cheapest.
And I love Daya.
Y'all spent all that time and you showed us you on the sewing machine, and Ginger, you're laid out on the floor
and they're
cutting
air
patterns.
and water wearing the same color. Like,
it was a dog's. And you glued these feathers everywhere, and then
it all looks. Look at the around the neck, like.
And then
they call out acids like draping, but whatever's sewn or pinned together around her neck looks like garbage.
That dress that Ginger has on is terrible, and just because she threw it across her arm and made it look like a wave.
And Michelle said it was like a church look. Who goes to church in
like
a
that?
long dress and in that color?
It was a fool. Everybody, every group was more constructed and had more detail.
They were the worst.
And had more and they're like, oh, the cardboard. But you can't see the cardboard.
They picked the other girls apart. And then
wore them out.
Then everything they said to them makes literally no sense to me.
You're perfect. You're beautiful. You look like Linda Evangelista. You're a model. That's what it was giving. In my opinion only, I would have to go with Alyssa Hunter as the most fashion forward.
Alyssa had I would say, probably if I had to pick a single best look, I mean, it was...
The detail,
yes.
Even though it was cardboard, okay, Michelle, let me give you a piece of cardboard and show me what you can do.
With Cuckoo's, you could tell that she made them, but she put so much work into it. Versus then you look at those first two and, they just made some sack dresses and poorly at that.
Poorly. And then to say, oh, well, Alyssa, it was just all that cardboard was so distracting.
What
are you talking about? Look at all this detail. Look at all this creativity. And I get the drapery of, like you said, what La Roche said about...
it could have been better, but also it still was beautiful.
It still was. And then when she was like, I could see Denali's pads.
No, you couldn't.
And then La Roche was like, well, girl, she looks so sickening. I didn't even notice that. And then she's like, well, what color were they on 3? 1, 2, 3. And they both say a different color. So, bitch, you ain't seen them.
No. Someone said green, right?
Yeah, one said green and the other said yellow.
I went through the whole thing to get screenshots and I never saw
I never seen her pad. And maybe it did hit differently. Sometimes I think people...
Under different lights.
Because, people, they question us. What are they looking at when we're looking at these pictures? And forget, we're looking from a distance right now. It's not
with bright lights all on around.
Yeah, but what I wasn't looking at a distance from was this episode. And apparently, Mama Ru did not have her spectacles on today.
RuPaul Drag Race is done drag.
Michelle's opinions have been just so off.
Right. She's been saying crazy
off the wall shit. I think it's time. Go ahead, scoot her over and either slide Ross, La, or T.S. Madison down one seat.
That's the thing too, is this is just a full-on car crash from the luxury train we were on before, the crazy train we were on before. Yeah. It didn't matter what happened. That musical, the week before, was garbage. It didn't matter. It was one of the most entertaining episodes ever. Because the girls are just that good at bringing the television. This group didn't have that element at all. And then, on top of that, you could see through all the production. It made no sense up until we find out what the song is. Mm-hmm. Then you're watching the lip sync, and, they both did good. But
clearly Ginger won the
absolutely
lip sync.
slayed it.
It came out so natural, and she sang it. And they both sang it with passion, but she just executed it so differently.
When you look at the cast, based on what we've seen the other girls do, no one could have done what Ginger did, and I think they wanted to make sure they had that moment. But that's not fair. If you're going to do all that, then do it on a week where we know Ginger could win. It could be reasonable.
Let's just have a crowning ceremony for Ginger. Magic 8 Ball. Is this group rigged?
I don't know the answer.
Oh, he doesn't want to get into it.
Oh.
He's already had the backlash.
Okay. Who would have been your winning group?
In terms of the duo, it would have to be Denali and Acid.
I agree. The look, the cohesiveness, the fire and ice. I thought the storyline got a little shaky. It was cute.
For me, I thought it was shaky the whole first half. And then I was like, damn, they brought that together.
When they brought it together with the iced coffee. Mm-hmm. Because what y'all don't know is I have an iced coffee sitting right over here. I love iced coffee as much as Ariana.
Yeah, by far, this would be my top. Denali was really good at embodying the good girl energy. Acid the modeling of it, you could tell she was a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, she just looked...
which I didn't notice on the first time, but...
it looked a little out of practice. Yeah. Like, you know what? I'm just getting back into
and
this.
There is something a little bit awkward about, like... I guess maybe... They had thought they had planned to hold hands and do something like that.
The physical touch was kind of awkward because Denali's like, don't touch me.
Not wanting to do it. And she never did.
Don't touch me. But still, overall.
The whole setup for the length of the stories, the amount of story they had to do, and the amount of time they had to walk the runway with the voiceover was way too long. Because it was just cringy. It was
cringy, and then there was like moments where they were lip syncing, and then there were moments where they would just like say one word, and then I was like, what's happening? I'm confusion.
Right, and it was different for each group. If there was going to be a solo winner, if it was that type of season, or if they were to split up winners, I could see Alyssa being one of the top two.
Alyssa should have been in the top two. No shade. It was sickening. I kind of actually enjoyed their storyline. It was funny, but a little cuckoo.
Well, yeah. Cynthia came out and basically read a bio.
Okay.
I like eggs, and I like she's just saying random things.
Yeah, and
like, what does this have to do with anything?
What'd she ask for? Where's my rum, or where's my...
Well, her flip-flop?
No, Alyssa at the end when they're like walking back, and she's like, where's my rum? And she's like, Mama, don't you remember I had liver cancer?
Right.
I was like, oh, okay.
What? It's like half of hers was just her talking about herself.
Yeah, it was so out there, but
they didn't go together at all. One had a shoe to hit cockroaches.
Yeah.
And then one had the money gun, which, again, another Alyssa reference from her season that just, every time she does it, it's so cringy and just so forced.
But here's the thing. She said, the money gun, it actually works now.
But then it didn't do it.
Did nothing with it.
And then that ugly-ass star they pulled out at the end.
Oh, now that did disappoint me.
Now that looks like cardboard, and it looks like the glue is still wet.
That looks like... You remember those foil panels you used to put in the car to keep the heat out? That's what that looks like.
But it looks like one that's been, like, in the oven, literally, and, like, got even worse. I wish there was more variety in general, with more creativity with the witches in general. Like, no one really leaned into any sort of witch vibe, for real. You know? Like, there's so much you could do with witch.
Y'all could have did Maleficent.
You could have done Scarlet Witch and, Agatha and stuff like, like there's so many things you could reference. There's so many modern things too. The groups that did like the Fire and Ice were really giving like, let's just do Wicked but change the colors. This group, Ginger and Daya,
Ginger played a great character.
I didn't like
that. Is the best thing I can say about it. She was very animated.
She was, and she had good inflection, but I thought the story... Like, that's the thing, is I don't think anything in her story was funny, but she said it as if it was funny.
Mm-hmm. She sold it. She said, I know this is a trash bag, but I'm going to sell you this trash bag.
And then, well, they said it was high fashion.
No. It's a fool. It's tomfoolery, foolishness.
And Daya was another one that I felt like she was a little awkward for the modeling. Like, she didn't know what to do either.
It was uncomfortable, I thought.
And it was the worst, if I didn't say that.
We did, but throw
Let me do it again.
Throw the whole episode away.
I don't even know what to say about it.
I do.
What?
Rigatoni.
So what happened is, after that they announced they won, my initial reaction was like, what? Are you kidding? But then it was so ridiculous that I started laughing.
Yeah.
I was like, this... Like, it was so crazy that I couldn't even be mad. I was just like...
I just sat back and I was like...
I thought it was hilarious. It was so nonsensical that it just made me hysterical. Next week, the Stagecooch.
Yes.
The preview got multiple shots of Denali's ass.
Is that her tuck bulging out the bottom? What's happening there?
I think so.
I think it's bulging a little bit.
Mm.
Also, I got to rewind real quick because there was a moment where they were zoomed in on the girls doing their makeup.
Uh-huh.
Cynthia ain't learned nothing.
What do you mean?
I was looking at her makeup and I was like... Oh.
I actually think with this group, Denali has had a big glow up. Has anyone else?
Daya looks a little better. I think
Daya looks the same, but Daya didn't need to fix anything for real.
Yeah.
It looks like we're gonna get more cringe next week. This, like, the preview already looks like
cringe,
it's gonna be messy.
Unhinged, tomfoolery.
I do like that Orville Peck's gonna be there.
They're clearly setting something up for Ginger.
I have no idea what they're trying to do, but I think she will do well, and I can't see anyone else in this group instinctually just being able to do a good country besides Ginger, you know?
Daya's a Midwest queen, so I have high hopes.
Yeah, most people here could imitate a country accent.
Yeah.
So she could potentially make it funny. I guess that is an advantage. Cause
we'll find out.
You know.
Denali's good at...
She's actually kind of Midwest too, but
yeah.
North.
I think she could do good. She's good at making things funny, in my opinion.
But I mean, all they're showing is her ass. She hasn't debuted on the season yet.
At this point, just put her with the pit crew.
I mean, I couldn't believe how long the shot was of her ass. And it was in slow motion.
Okay.
In the trailer.
I was like, oh.
So that's the preview, okay.
Is Group 3 going to get better?
Looks like a no.
Oh, damn.
You heard it here first. Now let's get into the YouTube thanks. Love the combos with Fab, Chloe, and Chasity, and all the other fabulous guests, but this video proves, this is the solo, this video proves that you can have a great flow by yourself. That sounds funny, a great flow by myself.
Yes.
Like, oh, I can talk to myself.
We love a nice self-flow.
I felt nuts. You know, when you're just sitting there talking to yourself and trying to make it like a conversation.
Girl, I do that all the time. I call it a staff meeting.
Of one?
Yes. No, girl, it ain't of one. Do you know how many people live up here?
That's true. Because, yeah, Mera, I refer to her as a separate person often.
Yes.
Next time you feel obligated to record by yourself, may I suggest you dress as Punchline from DC. I know you're more of a Harley Quinn type gal, but it feels appropriate, doesn't it? I like all the DC women, but Punchline is a newer comic book character, and I actually have never read any of the comics she's been in. She does have a cool look. Next, after seeing this, I could definitely get used to you hosting alone. It's giving very Wendy Williams vibes, which is very hard to do, but I think you have to knack for a single-person camera delivery method. You have the charisma and knowledge of the topics to make it work. I fully support this format. Happy Pride. They are really backing me and giving me detail.
So what you're saying is you want the girls gone.
Go wait in the car.
Pack it up. Wrap it up, team.
No, I appreciate it because it wasn't that good, and I think these are some of our
was good. You
lovely
did great.
people. You don't watch it.
Yeah, I actually do.
You did?
Yes.
Girl, if I don't have anyone that comes that week, that means I don't see anyone that week. I need to talk to someone.
This is how we socialize.
This is my socialization for the week.
Yeah. You're what? You wouldn't try that word again?
No.
I'd like to keep it on, please.
Maybe I should go so long. Also, because I still basically live in the pandemic, when I do see people, I talk so fast and stutter now that it's because I'm just excited and I'm like a person.
We'll take you for a walk, Mera. It's okay.
I left the house one time in 6 months. And I was in drag as Ginger Spice. That's the only time I've left the house in 6 months.
We'll take you for a walk around the park. Get her cohabitated.
We could make a list of things we need to do to help me. Help us by hitting that like button and leaving a comment below of what you think of this week's episode. Did you think it was rigor mortis or did you feel it was fair? I have one last thing to say today. Well, let me put this back on. Glad you got to see us.